Why does your bedroom look like the back room of a Sephora warehouse? Not long ago, skincare was about cleansing your face and maybe moisturizing before bed. And somewhere along the way, the internet transformed basic self-care into full-blown inventory management system. Now, people aren't just buying skincare. They are filming themselves, decanting gallon-sized refill into matching acrylic containers, lining up 10 identical cleansers and restocking shelves like they are preparing for a retail. And somehow it's being sold to us as calming. These viral restock ASMR videos don't just normalize overconsumption, they are aesthetize it. They turn excess into aspiration. What looks like organization is often just beautified package hoarding, disguised as productivity, wellness, and self-care. Today, I want to talk about the rise of viral skincare restock content and how it's romanticizing retail inventory habits inside our home. Because what we are witnessing online isn't just organizing content anymore, it's the fetishization of stockpiling, endless backup, bulk refills, color coordinated containers, and retail restock rituals designed to mimic the visual satisfaction of professional retail logistics. Bathrooms are starting to resemble mini warehouse. Skincare routines are becoming inventory system, and the aesthetic of abundance is slowly replacing actual utility. This video conditions us to associate comfort with constant accumulation. The more products you see, the more products you have, the more secure, productive, the put together you appear. The ASMR plays a huge role in this. The pouring in, tapping, peeling, organizing, all engines to make consumption feel therapeutic instead of excessive. But beneath the satisfying visual is a deeper conversation about overconsumption, consumer psychology, and the way social media rebrand domestic hoarding as a lifestyle aspiration. So in this video, I want to break down why skincare restock ASMR video feels so addictive, how it glamorizes excess under the disguise of organization, and why this trend says a lot about the current state of beauty culture online. Let's talk about it. One of the strangest things about skincare restock ASMR is that it doesn't actually resemble normal domestic life anymore. It resembles retail inventory management. People aren't simply stocking products for convenience. They are recreating the visual language of warehouse, beauty, stockroom, and store display inside the bedroom. Matching acrylic bin, label markers, drawer system, refill station, bulk backup arranged by category. It mirrors the system used by business to manage commercial restock. That's the importance because retail environments are intentionally designed to communicate abundance, preparedness, and endless availability. When creators, recreate that aesthetics at home, they subsequently turn personal consumption into a performance of wealth, control, and also productivity. The issue is that the aesthetic of being stocked up start becoming more emotional satisfying than actually using the product themselves. At that point, skincare stop functioning as skincare and start functioning as visual inventory. The restock itself becomes the hobby, and social media reforms this by rewarding the spectacle of excess. The giant refill bags, 10 bags of the same moisturizer, color coordinated shelves, overflowing drawers, minical store like display. What's being romanticized isn't self-care, it's stimulated retail ownership. One of the smartest tricks this trend pulls is convincing people that organizing excess is the same way as controlling it, because psychologically, organization creates this illusion of responsibility. The moment products are transferred into matching acrylic bins, labeled containers, and perfectly aligned drawers, the chaos of overconsumption suddenly feels intentional, curated, and even healthy. But in reality, the quantity often stays the same or even gets worse. What's happening is a form of aesthetic productivity, using visual organization to create this emotional feeling of accomplishment without actually addressing the underlying consumption habits. And social media absolutely feed this cycle. The act of organizing gives people a dopamine hit of, sorting products, refilling containers, lining things, watching shelves look complete, hearing this satisfying ASMR sound, it creates temporal emotion relief and a sense of control. But instead of reducing accumulation, the organization system often just makes accumulation easier to justify, because once excess looks beautiful, it stops looking excessive. And that's why people can own over 50 lip oil, 17 body mix, or 5 backup cleanser and still feel, disciplined, simply because everything is color coordinated and aesthetically arranged. The acrylic being psychologically sanitize this hoarding. And the deeper problem is that this system quietly transform maintenance into identity. People begin performing the role of store management for their own consumption habits, tracking the inventory, managing stock, buying backup before running out, restocking for content, organizing product that they don't even use regularly. And at that point, the routine itself become addictive, not skincare, not self-care, the maintenance of excess. What makes this trend so effective is that it disguises overconsumption using the language of preparedness, cleanliness, or even self improvement. No one says, I am buying too much skincare. Instead, the behavior gets reframed as being organized, being prepared, being stocked, investing in skincare, creating a calming environment. And that's where restock culture becomes deeply connected to anti consumerism conversation. Because minimalism used to ask, do I actually need this? But modern restock culture asks, do I have enough of this to create the aesthetic of abundance? That's a huge psychological shift. The focus moved away from utility and moved visually reassurance. Products are no longer valuable because they are useful. They become valuable because they contribute to the image of fully stocked, hyper-organized lifestyle. And social media intensifies this by rewarding visibility over functionality. A single cleanser isn't visually impressive, but an entire drawer of cleansers that performs well online. One body mist feels ordinary, 20 arranged by color becomes content. So creators are subtly incentivized to accumulate more than they can realistically use, because excessive photographs better, films better, and generates more engagement. That's why these videos often blurs the line between collecting and compulsive consumption. The audience starts internalizing the idea of a complete life look fully stocked all the time. You see those fully stocked shelves, backup products, endless options. But real utility doesn't require this abundance. Most people do not need mini beauty warehouse to take care of themselves. And ironically, the more product people accumulate, the less intentional consumption becomes. Things expire, product get forgotten, shopping becomes so repetitive, decluttering becomes constant. The cycle creates the exact opposite of what the aesthetic promised, not peace but maintenance. Skincare Restock ASMI isn't just about the organization, it's about transforming consumption into comfort. What started as simple self-care content has evolved into a highly aestheticized performance of abundance. Overconsumption gets disguised as productivity, and emotional reassurance is found through constant replenishment. And that's why these videos feel so satisfying to watch. They don't just sell product, they sell control, they sell preparedness, they sell the fantasy that if our chef aren't full enough, organized enough, and aesthetically pleasing enough, then maybe our lives will feel calmer though. And that's the difference between being organized and being conditioned to maintain a personal inventory system for products we barely use. Because real self-care probably isn't owning backups of backups, reorganizing excess every week, constantly refilling containers for content, or turning your bedroom into a Sephora warehouse. And the irony is that many of these trends promise peace while quietly encouraging endless maintenance, endless purchasing, and endless accumulation. And maybe the question isn't how do I make my skincare storage look more aesthetic? Maybe the better question should be why have we become so emotionally attached to the visual performance of excess in the first place? Because once consumption starts feeling therapeutic, social media no longer need to pressure you into buying more. Well, we will do it ourselves, one aesthetically organized acrylic bin at a time. But those are just my thoughts, and I really want to hear yours. Do you think skincare restore culture is harmless organization content, or do you think social media has started glamorizing overconsumption by disguising it as self-care and productivity? And honestly, at what point does being stocked up stop being practical and start becoming a personal warehouse? If you enjoyed this video, make sure you like, subscribe, leave a comment, because I love reading your perspective on this beauty and consumer culture conversation. And if you have been enjoying this series on overconsumption, decluttering, and the psychology behind these trends online, definitely check out the other videos, because we are absolutely going to make unpacking how the internet normalizes excess in a way people rarely talk about. Thank you so much for watching. I am Blessing, and I will see you in the next video.